Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Yes, this is Simon here with a spoiler-heavy edition of Bonus Bite. That's right, this is your warning if you do not want to ruin anything from the upcoming event this week that we've all been hanging out for. Please do not proceed. Of course, we're going to deliver our full episode on the day of the keynote, so you can hang out for that if you want, or if it's just too tempting, then I have some interesting information for you. So, an iOS 11 GM was reportedly sent to the news site 9to5Mac from a carrier. This carrier is currently unnamed, but if their identity is revealed, I'm sure they'd be in big trouble. So a load of details were revealed from this. And I'm going to start off with iPhone. So naming, I always said that I felt the iterative updates, what people are referring to as 7S and 7S Plus. Back in our predictions episode, I said, no, I think they will be 8 and 8 Plus, and that's looks like it is the case. So your iterative update phone will be iPhone 8 and iPhone 8 Plus with the new design phone, iPhone X. Not 100% confirmed, but looks like it will be called iPhone X. Now, only a few days prior to this, it was being thrown around that iPhone Edition was going to be the name. I prefer the name iPhone Edition, but, we'll see in a few days as to what the actual name is. So, from this GM, there have been a load of new wallpapers that have been discovered. So, 2 of Earth, which harks back to the original iPhone, and 1 of the moon. 6 of flowers with gradient backgrounds, which look quite nice. Now there are 7 of an angled, rainbow bands. Now these colors in this rainbow are like the retro Apple logo, and there's a flat color behind them. Now, of course, there's 7 different options. I only really like the black one. I kind of think maybe a bit overkill with the color choice there, but we'll see what you reckon. And looking for iPad only, which of course you could just download and put on your iPhone, are 3 kind of abstract ones which have this glassy, reflective kind of swirl of color. And that reminds me of the modern take on the box art from Adobe CS3. So I'm definitely digging those. Now the iPhone X itself, it's actually quite funny to call it by its supposedly true name after commonly referring to it as iPhone 8 all throughout this year. So the iPhone X is going to have True Tone display, a feature called portrait lighting, which simulates the lighting effects to make your portrait mode photos more like a digital SLR. Now, it looks like the apps themselves are embracing the notch, so there's no evidence of a pseudo bezel or anything in any app screenshots. There you go. They're going all in on the notch. Now, in terms of the indicators at the top, we have time on the left without the carrier name, thank goodness, and we have the signal, Wi-Fi, and battery at the right. I'm not sure if any of this is customizable, but that looks like a pretty good layout to me. Okay, now, of course, we've spoken a lot about this new replacement for Touch ID, this facial recognition technology. Now, it looks like the official name for it is, surprise, surprise, Face ID, which seems like a no-brainer to me. Now, what I like about this is that the icon used for Face ID is similar to the kind of like the eyes and mouth in the Finder icon for Mac, so I like that bit of a link there. And it looks like to set it up, you've kind of, you align your face, within the guidelines, and you rotate it around in a circular motion. So therefore, the Face ID is capturing kind of all aspects of your face. So much like you would do when you're kind of capturing the edge of your thumb or your finger with Touch ID set up. Okay, so now we have spoken previously about the idea of the virtual home button, where it looks like since then, they've ditched that idea for this iPhone X, and it's been replaced with a line at the bottom. It's this thin line, it's about a third the width of the screen, and it's centered, and you are to swipe up from the bottom with this. So we did talk about this whole idea of, swiping up to invoke App Switcher and what they're going to do in terms of Control Center, etc. So we'll definitely find out in a few days with that. And funnily enough, from this, we've seen that there's going to be more use of the power button. So this is referred to as a side button in this GM, and it seems like it's getting Apple Watch-like features. So you double press it for Apple Pay cards, you press and hold it for Siri, and it's looking like that this button isn't so much actual a physical button, but it runs via haptic feedback, much like the 7's home button. Okay, now a surprise thing that we've seen, now we have talked about the idea of the 3D sensors in the iPhone X being used, for some sort of 3D avatar or something. Well, they're kind of using that type of technology with something called Animoji. So this basically creates a custom animated emoji based on your facial expressions and voice. So the visual example is shown where like you've got the monkey face and it's being animated around based on what your gestures are. So think essentially kind of like motion capture, but with your iPhone. So that looks pretty interesting. And that pretty much wraps up iPhone stuff. There's, plenty more little details in there, but I don't want to, give it all away and ruin this event. And then next we have the watch. So yes, it looks definitely like that this cellular LTE Watch is happening. So there is basically a screenshot from the setup of the watch that shows what looks like a Series 2 where the digital crown actually has a red top. Now, I'm assuming this is the antenna for the LTE. So this red-topped crown watch has actually been seen to be worn by Tim Cook even when the original watch launched. So I would say he's been testing this out all that time ago. I did kind of joke around with Nick, what would they call this? Could they call this Apple Watch CE, as in CEO edition? But, I guess we'll just see there. For me, Series 3 seems like the logical choice. Now, form factor wise, as I said, it looks just like a Series 2. It could be potentially thinner, but hard to tell from the screenshot. Now, how it actually works is that the watch will use the same phone number as your iPhone. And so it's looking like that your phone carrier could either offer the data for this as an add-on to your existing phone plan, so it just uses the same data pool, or it would come at a small extra cost. I definitely think if they went the way of using from the same data pool, then basically the carriers aren't really losing out at all. Now, the signal indicator, funnily enough, on the LTE watch is the dot style like iOS 10 and not the bars like iOS 11. I don't know whether that's just like a height thing, but, I've always been a fan of the dots. And then lastly, the Apple Watch looks like it'll be coming in 2 new colors, a grey version of ceramic and an aluminium blush gold. So those are specifically the names used, found within the iOS 11 GM. So aligning with that, I would expect the blush gold for the iPhone X. And that is your wrap-up of recently leaked details. And it's funny enough, because the more that Nick and I were talking about doubling down on secrecy, the more stuff that has actually come out. So I'd say this time next year, I would assume that we wouldn't see major HomePod firmware leaks or iOS 11 GM leaks. So there you go. It's all very exciting. I really just can't wait for the event. And of course, if you would like to know when the actual streaming is starting in your area, I've put a countdown on our website. Just go to appleslice.com.au and you'll see it there with a link to add the event to your calendar. Now, of course, for me in Western Australia, it is going to be a 1 a.m. viewing time. Not the best of times, but us Apple fans will we want to see the action as it's happening. So we are going to deliver a full episode on the day of the keynote, so later in that afternoon. And so our take is going to be very fresh on it. Usually we've let these events kind of simmer for a day or two before we deliver an episode, but this is going to be a new thing for us. And yeah, we can't wait to cover it all then and see and hope that there will be some other surprises in store and that I haven't completely ruined the event for anyone. So there you go, and we'll catch you later this week with the full episode following Apple's special event.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.